Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to draw up the absolute ultimate blueprint for elevating your career. We're looking at exactly how you can make that jump from a traditional, everyday accounting role into becoming a top-tier financial leader. So if you're looking to completely future-proof your career and step into the strategic spotlight, well, you are definitely in the right place.
To kick things off, we really have to ask, what truly separates someone who just, balances the books from the strategic leaders who are actually driving Fortune 500 companies? Honestly, it's a massive leap. It requires so much more than just technical knowledge. It demands a highly sophisticated grasp of real-world business strategy.
Here is our architectural blueprint for today. We'll be covering beyond traditional bookkeeping, the foundation of trust, the 3 pillars of success, conquering the exams, and finally, your return on investment.
All right, let's dive into Section 1, Beyond Traditional Bookkeeping.
Think about the traditional finance role. It usually concentrates heavily on financial accounting and historical reporting. Basically, you're just reporting on what has already happened, right? But achieving the CGMA designation completely flips the script. It empowers you to become a proactive management accountant. It's an entirely future-focused shift where you aren't just recording history anymore. You're actually influencing what happens next. You are writing the future of the business.
Moving right along to Section 2, the foundation of trust.
Look, before we can even think about raising the walls on your career, we have to pour a rock-solid foundation. And that brings us to the bedrock of the entire profession. Every single strategic decision you make has to be built on an unshakable foundation of trust and a commitment to acting in the public interest. Trust doesn't just happen by accident. It has to be built deliberately to last in the real world.
So, what goes into this foundation? Well, you're required to uphold 5 fundamental ethical principles: integrity, objectivity, professional competence, confidentiality, and professional behavior. And this isn't just fluffy corporate jargon. These principles serve as a very real professional protective net for your organization. Confidentiality keeps the information flowing safely, while objectivity makes sure your judgment isn't clouded by personal bias. By mastering these ethics, chartered accountants literally become what they call guardians of governance. I mean, think about it. We live in a world where a single piece of misinformation can tank a stock price in seconds. Your role is to ensure the undeniable quality of both financial and non-financial data, and yes, that includes things like sustainability reporting. You become the most trusted voice in the room.
Let's get into Section 3, 3 pillars of success.
Okay, foundation poured. Now, the CIMA qualification uses this really iconic building block model to develop you into a well-rounded strategic leader, rather than just, a human calculator. It's intentionally designed so you deeply understand just how interconnected modern business actually is.
Your expertise gets divided up into 3 distinct pillars. The enterprise pillar explores how digital technologies and human capital actually drive value. Then you have the performance pillar, which centers heavily on risk mitigation and cost analysis. And finally, the financial pillar that provides the technical backbone, covering everything from super complex tax regulations to global reporting standards. Together, they create a totally bulletproof skill set.
And your progression through all of this is entirely vertical. At the operational level, you're executing short-term 12-month strategies. Move up to the management level, and suddenly you're translating that strategy into medium-term action. Finally, at the strategic level, your perspective shifts dramatically. Now, you're advising the board on a 3 to 5 year corporate vision. With every step you take, your perspective just elevates.
Which brings us to Section 4, Conquering the Exams.
Now, a blueprint is basically useless if you don't actually execute it, and doing that requires a dual-track strategy to get past the 12 rigorous exams. On one side, you have objective tests. These are high-pressure, 90-minute assessments where you have exactly 1.5 minutes per question, so they demand absolute technical precision. But then the integrated case study demands a complete mindset shift. You have to pivot seamlessly into a consultation role. You're no longer just calculating a variance, you're doing a real-world role play, explaining exactly why that variance matters to the board of directors.
Let's be real. Navigating this multi-year progression while holding down a full-time job is notoriously tough. That's why having a structured support system, like a hybrid learning model with expert tutor access and live sessions, becomes your ultimate safety net. In fact, candidates with active support, like direct tutor access and peer communities, are 40% more likely to maintain their momentum through the final levels. You absolutely don't have to build this massive career structure all on your own.
Finally, Section 5, your return on investment.
Let's put the roof on this architectural masterpiece and look at the finished building's true value in the market. Check this out. An incredible 91% of Fortune 500 companies actively seek out CGMA designation holders to lead their strategic financial operations. That is an overwhelming, undeniable level of demand.
And hey, that demand isn't just localized to one area. This qualification acts as a true global passport. It gives you unmatched professional mobility and recognition across 179 different countries. 179! Whether you are aiming to work in the UK, the Middle East, Asia, North America, or Africa, your skills translate directly and powerfully no matter where you go.
Now for the part you're probably wondering about, the personal financial return. It is substantial. Qualified CGMAs report earning potentials up to 31% higher than their non-qualified peers. To put that into perspective, in the UK alone, the average salary for a CIMA member exceeds £63,000. Committing to this path is a highly, highly lucrative investment in your own future.
So, why does that premium exist? Well, as automation completely reshapes traditional accounting, a massive 72% of CFOs are desperately hunting for leaders who can bridge the gap between complex financial data and AI-driven ecosystems. They don't need human calculators anymore. They need strategic visionaries who can manage digital transformation and lead those big ESG initiatives.
By combining that rigorous CIMA architectural framework with the unshakable ethical foundation we talked about, you basically become completely indispensable. You evolve from being just a standard data processor into a true strategic protector of corporate assets, totally ready to navigate a volatile global economy.
So, as we wrap up today's explainer, I want you to take a hard look at your own career blueprint. Ask yourself, are your skills truly equipped to lead the complex digital economy of 2026, or are you going to be left behind simply reporting on the past? The path to elite financial leadership is fully mapped out for you. Now, it's just time to decide exactly what kind of future you want to build.